We're live. It is Sunday morning. This is the Rich Lieberman Media Pulse. Boy, have we had a 24 hours. And this whole thing in Iran, the United States taking out their Fordo and other nuclear sites combined with Israel. This is a big story, folks. And to happen of all times on a Saturday night, which is news Death Valley, right? It just never happens, except it happened on this Saturday night. It'll be remembered for many, many years to come. Unprecedented kind of a deal. So we're going to now do the analyzing and looking and that kind of a thing, and paying attention to the people who are going to tell us that this is miraculous, that this was incredible, a bold stroke by President Donald Trump, and combined with the Israeli Air Force, and really two nations, two really tight alliances working together. Or we'll get the opposite in the predictable crowd who will tell us that this is, going to be the something on the precipice of a disaster. Usually it turns out these things happen, circumstances beyond fly somewhere in the middle, right? Speaking of which, now this is basic news presentation 101. I used to listen to, many of you do too, did, KCBS outstanding, award winning years ago Sunday morning program called In Depth. And usually what it was an interview program, 101, with usually politicians, could have been city leaders, state leaders, but they dealt with a topic, and they usually dealt with a topic that was very much timely, right? Whether it was a law that was perhaps being enacted, whether it was a news event that was so compelling that it involved the people, whatever. So we have this world news combined with national news, and yes, even local news, because we have the representatives here in the Bay Area. We have a very, very huge population of people who are very much in tune to what's going on in the Middle East. So we got the word last night that the United States had struck Iran with the B-2s and these huge 30,000-pound so-called bunker busting super bombs, I'll call them. Big news. Cable is talking about it. Over-the-air networks broadcast it. Ancillary cable network. It's the talk of the world. Now, common sense would dictate that whoever is running the show at KCBS would have immediately made some phone calls, called a producer, called an editor, called, say, for example, Doug Sovereign. Yes, he's retired, but he's their sort of political emeritus person. Talks about politics, talks about goings on in the world, locally, nationally. Or a Phil Mateer, or even a Willie Brown. Not only that, would have called Adam Schiff, the new senator from California, on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, well aware of what's going on, and would have said, folks, Mr. Schiff, Senator Schiff, we want you to come on In Depth tomorrow, Sunday. We're doing a live show at 8:30. And we're going to expand a half hour because this is such a big to do. It's a big event. But the person who is running KCBS, the news director who does not know what the hell she's doing. Bye bye. Her name is Jenny Seelig. And Jenny Seelig has no news cachet. She was put there because of her gender. She's an executive, a paper tiger who has no bones, no news chops. Because what did we get on KCBS Sunday? A show about firefighting. Firefighting. Now, an important subject. Of course it is. We're affected by that in California, in the Bay Area, in Sacramento, where all these fires are. Of course. But you do it when everybody's talking about what's going on in the Middle East, when all the cable channels and the over-the-air channels are talking about the United States basically getting involved. It's not a conflict. It's a war with Israel, Iran. The alleged news director didn't do that because she has no chops. And I don't give a damn if she's a woman, a man, brown, black, white, yellow, whatever. God, I'm so sick of the fact that she's a woman. Therefore, I'm a misogynist. What a bunch of crap. This woman has no whatsoever chops. Nothing. She's an idiot. Quote me. And the fact that they did good in the last book was not because of her, not because of the station. It's the fact that they are a monopoly. By definition, they're the only kid on the block. Of course, they're going to do better sometimes. Most people don't listen to KCBS anymore. I'll keep saying it and saying it. But I will give you reasons why they are inept. Because again, any other person who is a news director, who is an executive producer, somebody in the newsroom would have called Doug Sovereign, would have called Matt Bigler, would have called perhaps Jennifer Hodges and said, guys, we're going to do a special show tomorrow. We're going to have on such and such. We're going to talk about this. And we're going to expand for an hour. We're going to go from 8:30 till 9:30 because this is news. Any half-brained person would know what is news and what is not news. And in depth is supposed to be what is in the news. Why do you call yourselves the all news station? Last I checked, we're not talking about fires today. We're talking about Israel and Iran and President Trump and his address. It's common sense, folks. I pick on them because they give me multiple areas and subject matters, in this case, where they lack, to pick on them. It is so dumb. It is so absolute incompetence upon incompetence, and they do nothing about it. The powers that be over there, they are resigned. They see a corporate company that has penny stock that is due to file another bankruptcy any day now. They put their hands up in resignation. They just don't know what the hell to do. But this decision is simply a reflection of what the hell is going on. It doesn't cost money. Costs a little bit of flexing the brain, assuming you have a quarter brain at least. But Jenny Seelig gets away with it. She gets away with it, all in her little damsels in distress. The only people she hires, because everybody knows she doesn't hire men, she only hires women because she knows they will abide by her. They will listen to her. They will dare not cross her. And oh, by the way, maybe not mention to her, which they should do on Monday. You know, Jen, would have been a great idea had you had on in depth something having to do with what's happening and what everybody in the world is talking about, for God's sakes. In California, the Bay Area is a very vital cog to the communications process. We have a great degree of people interested. We have a very healthy Jewish population in San Francisco and Oakland and San Jose. We have an Iranian population. Would it have not been half logical to do a show? And yes, Face the Nation, the CBS show, they're talking about it too. And yes, they're broadcast on KCBS. Doesn't matter. This is in the news. This is the absolute top of the masthead. But Jenny Seelig gets away with it because she has no sense of priority. She has no news sense. When this story first broke, I turned on, like everybody else did, the news channels. Just out of curiosity, I put on KCBS last night. And they went with the usual network stuff because their local anchors are brain dead. They don't know how to cover things. God forbid, in the middle of the night, we have something like this take place, and we have to have one of their incompetents who currently anchors try to carry on an interview. That would be impossible because they don't know how to interview. They don't even know how to interview or lead a news operation in the middle of the day during the week. That's what we've been reduced to. Thank God for cable. Thank God for places like Newsmax or the BBC or CNN. In depth is no depth. Again, it used to be a really terrific half hour local interviews, local politicians and news ideas and things that involved the Bay Area. And it was Bay Area centric. Of course it was. Now we have tingling pipes and NPR crap. It really is embarrassing. It could have been something. It still could be something. But as long as incompetent Jenny Seelig runs the show, we're SOL. In case you don't know what that is, shit out of luck.